Hello, and welcome to what we like to call Between Two Gyms with Matt Crape. All jokes aside, this is Matt Crape.
I'm between two gyms.
Jim Millard, and I'm Jim Jones. And we are going to talk to you today about what's called influencer programs. Anybody here heard the term influencer program before? Anybody heard of a vExpert? Same idea. So, as a quick start, my little clicker's gone dead. Hold on a second, there we go. So we have a disclaimer. So a little bit about us. So like I said, I'm Jim Jones. I'm a senior network administrator from West Virginia. I can be found on Twitter and on my website. I'm a vExpert and a vBrownBag. Jim?
Jim Millard, the other Jim of the two Jims. I'm a senior consulting engineer for One Neck IT Solutions. I can be found on the interwebs, both Twitter or at MillardJK or my blog, blog.millard.org.
I'm Matt Crape, currently between two gyms. I'm an IT manager by day, C3 Group up in Canada. You can find me on Twitter, on the web. Got our sort of vitals up there for communication. vExpert, vBrownBag, Tintry Expert, IO Pro. We'll delve into those a little bit more.
All right. So what we want to talk to you guys about today, or we want to talk to each other a little bit about, is the idea of what influencer programs are and some other things about it. You know, so Jim, what do you think an influencer program is?
So my history with influencer programs goes back to the Microsoft MVP and SQL Pass, as well as early vExpert. I'm one of the 53 original vExperts, and I've been a vExpert every year since its inception. And my take on it is it's recognition for things you have already done to be an evangelist or an influencer in the community, rather than something that I'm going to do at some other point once I become the influencer member.
Okay.
So just to sort of follow on that, one thing that I've found helps me over the years is as I get into these programs or whatnot, I almost use it as a bar to gauge that, you know what, clearly I'm on a good trajectory if I'm invited back in again. And to touch on your point, a lot of these are based on what you've already done. So you have to keep that in mind if you want to sort of stay in these programs. You need to look at what you've done and at least keep that up, if not improve on it. So it could actually be a good career development tool that you can use for yourself. Jim, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so just, to me, the biggest thing of it is you always have to kind of understand that there's different types. Like I said, vExpert is the example that we've kind of thrown out there. Also, the commonalities, all three of us are also vBrownBags. But there's different types of them. Matt, do you have an idea of like a different type of one?
So, there's ones where you're invited. You might have to submit an application or the folks...
Become nominated.
Yeah, become nominated through some mechanism. There's also, basically open ones that you might be able to join. Some of those examples, I mentioned IO Pro, which is, you could go there, sign up, and get in touch with the developers of the product. Jim, do you have another example of any that you can think of? Or?
Again, MVP is probably the oldest one, and it originally was just the original Microsoft MVP, but then it fragmented into different column verticals rather than having the overarching. And we're seeing that today with the specialist groups for vExpert. That we've got a generalist vExpert, but then we've also got specializations for EUC, for vSAN, for NSX.
What about the non-vendor specific ones like Tech Field Day? Those are like a whole different thing that you get invited to it, but it's not like I'm going to slap a label on me from a company. So there's some types. So you guys have all heard about it. We've kind of lived with it. I found myself that after you get about a year in, the things that you thought about a influencer program change radically, because that's the value proposition shifts for you as a member. So I personally think that one of the misconceptions is that becoming a member of whatever program is the end game. That's not like, oh, I've worked up to this, now I've got it, I'm good. That the reality of it is you have to continue to contribute to the community. You have any other examples?
Yeah, just to sort of further that thought, with a lot of these programs, similar folks who are in it with you, there's usually a pretty good brain trust. And it's really one of these situations where the more you put into it, the more you get out of it. You know, there's a lot of smart folks you can ping ideas off of, and that's where a lot of the value comes into this sort of stuff. Do you want to add anything, Jim?
Not really.
Okay.
Yeah, so like when you hear about vExpert and stuff like that for the first time, so you know the first thing you hear is, oh, cool, free shirts, licenses, all that kind of stuff. Well, so like for myself as an example, I work for a state government agency. I can't take that stuff. So to me, once I got into it, I found there was inherent value to being there. Let me rephrase it. Yes, I wear a shirt. For the most part, I can't take that stuff. But the value really is the community that grows up around it. There's a lot of Slack channels that get involved. There's forums, there's meet and greets, there's that kind of thing.
There's also a lot of educational opportunities. So in a lot of cases where these organizations are really serious about this, they'll put you in front of top-level product managers and stuff like that, and they'll ask you very openly, what do you like, what don't you like? They look for criticisms, they look for things that they're doing well, and they take that feedback. Hopefully they do. The good ones do. There are some cases I've seen in the past where they say, hey, give us some details. You give them feedback, and then they basically just ignore it.
Yeah, Jim, have you ever had new initiatives come about at where you work at because you got invited into like an NDA briefing or something like that through any of these programs? So
one of the influencer programs that I was a member of that is now a defunct program is the Pernix Pro program. And that was created after Pernix came out, became a GA product. I had done beta testing with it and was automatically invited to be a Pernix Pro as a result of lots of feedback, helping them out with that. And by knowing the product as well as I did through the beta and then continued access to the licensing through the Pro program, was able to get switched over to be a Prime, which was Pernix's partner affiliate program. And so I was one of the few people in the US that was a Pro and a Prime because we were a partner, and it made opportunities for us from the business standpoint as a partner that you guys as customers would not realize, but it was still the same sort of advantage that by getting in early, being able to give feedback, be part of the development and feedback process, it enabled us to be a better business partner.
Yeah, and once again, sort of touch on that point, one benefit that I've had personally, as well as that my company has benefited from, is sometimes you get training, whether it's training credits or basically free classes for these products. Training's always a great thing. It's rarely is it cheap for good training, but sometimes that's one of these benefits that's thrown in. It's nothing tangible, but it's education.
Okay. Well, just kind of to wrap up, so let's pretend that nobody here is a vExpert or anything along those lines. What are some things to do to get yourself on that path?
I would say, start sharing your thoughts, right? Whether that's a matter of talking to product managers in person, whether it's a matter of blogging or helping folks out on sites like Spiceworks or whatnot. Podcasts. Basically, have an opinion and share the opinion. You could change your opinion in the future if you need to. But yeah, share knowledge.
Show passion, publish it. And passion does not have to be positive. I found as part of my application process to become a Veeam Vanguard, I pointed at my blog just with anything tagged with Veeam on it, and some of those were actually critical of the product, and that was okay. That was just fine. In fact, Rick Vanover, who leads the Vanguard program, said that actually your willingness to come out and criticize the product and be fair about it, but showing the passion for it, not just critical for the sake of being critical, but because you want it fixed.
Be better.
You want it to be better, was a contributing factor to why I was selected.
Yeah, truth be told, one of the things that I've found is if you're going to do it right, you don't have to have that concern or that stigma that you're being a shill to whatever company. If it's being run right and you're interacting in the community right, you're not. So
yeah, don't be afraid to be critical. Just be fair if you are.
Yeah. So
be honest.
Got a question over here.
Yes. Well, it can be.
The question is, does it need to be a specific path or can it be an overarching? Part of it depends on what influencer program you have an interest in joining. And what can happen is you choose a product that you're passionate about. And you blog about it, you tweet about it, you let people know what your successes and your failures are with it. And you may not even know that there's an influencer program for it. And somebody else that you know in the community lets you know, hey, I nominated you for it, or you ought to nominate yourself because this is a great site, or you've got a lot of great material that you're clearly passionate about. That's what it was with Vanguard. The second year around, Jim said, you gotta apply for it, man.
Yeah.
Okay, because I didn't think that I was a vocal enough member of the Veeam community. I still love the product, and I'm still going to be evangelical about it, if I can use that term. So it's be passionate about it, publish about it, and then if it happens to line up, then apply. But if it doesn't, that's not a reason to not still be passionate about your product.
Yeah, the name of the game is find whatever your passion is with it, and then just go with it. You know, the name, to me, the biggest part of it is there's going to be some value to it, whether it be something that you can put your hand on or something that your brain's going to wrap around, but that is going to be exponential to the amount that you put into it. So if you're ever thought about starting a blog, starting a podcast, whatever, do it. Do it to the way that feels right to you, and then go from there.
Yeah, everyone has their own voice. Even if someone's already, written a post about how to do X, Y, and Z, write your own version, right? Somebody else might do it slightly differently. Your phrasing might help someone else figure out troubles with previous posts. People are always learning.
Yep. Well, with that, we've got the high sign, so we're going to have to start wrapping up. I appreciate you guys coming, and enjoy the rest of the show.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks.